I am one of your two hosts. The other one can't be here tonight. So I am Hollywood Matt Dave Stockbridge. And I will give you a double bicep. And I do apologise for the double bicep deficit. The man on screen with me right now is the X Factor. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Nick Vella. Thank you very much for joining us, Nick. Look at that. I'll tell you what, you came very, very highly recommended. Brett Coots couldn't say better things about you.
You talked me up. You talked me up.
He's pumped you up. You're the next big thing.
Yes, man.
You're the 85 kilo Rickett Borman as far as we're concerned.
Oh, well, yeah, I'll bet, yeah.
So, and of course, you're our wild card entry. Guy Tunnaput wasn't able to make it over due to visa issues and all of that type of thing. But you stepped up to the plate, and as soon as that spot was available, Brett Coots was like, "Hey, you know, I've got a guy who can take everybody out. All you need to do is get this guy on a table, and he can walk away with a belt." So, Nick, you come with big raps. How does it feel to be part of the AWE family?
Oh, it feels incredible. It feels incredible. I couldn't say no. I could not say no. And I was a bit nervous at the start. I was like, I don't think I'm mentally prepared for this, But Brett Gay's give it a crack, and you know what? I'm all for it. So I'm really, it's actually an honour. It's an honour, mate. It's an honour to be there. And most of the pullers, I know most of them. So it's gonna be a good, man. It's gonna be a good clash. Some good arm wrestlers, man. So there we go.
Absolutely. And when I saw that photograph of you, so Brett's taken a photo of you in the workplace. You weren't even pumped. It wasn't even like you were just there. It wasn't a weight belt that was around your waist. It was the work belt. It was just the tall belt. Yeah. And here you are with the double bicep throwing it up there. I just thought, my God, how are you 85 kilos? That is insane. So take us through a little bit about your arm wrestling history. Where did it all get started for you?
Well, I've probably been arm wrestling for now probably 2 years competitively. Yep. I ain't done it 2 years. So I'm only pretty new to the sport. Yep. I got into I probably got it in about 4 months before my first competition. I think my first competition was VIX 2023. That was March, I think, 2023.
Yeah, wow.
You didn't do crazily well. I had a few battles, but, it was just, you get into the world of arm wrestling. It's like, whoa, it's a whole different world, you know what I mean? So really, I've gone through my paces. I've had a few good battles, for a lot of good arm wrestlers, but I've doing all right, done all right as of yet, so went to Turkey, qualified, went to Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
For the East vs West, so got, I wouldn't say got my ass handed to me, but I did okay, held my own. I had one win on my belt. I beat, who did I beat? I was Pete Burge. Pete Burge is Nordic champion, 2-time Nordic champion. Yeah. Look, he had a pretty good few battles before me, so I can't, it wasn't an honourable win, but I still beat him.
You can notch it up.
But tournament's tournament, it is what it is. But I went up to him after, okay, maybe we're a bit fresh, we'll go again, but it's actually a very nice guy, actually. But yes, I went to Turkey. Come back last VIX, got to look at the left. I'm actually a lefty too, so I'm going. This going to right. My right's coming up. Though, so I'm feeling confident, But my left is my money arm. So
right, similar Brett in that regard.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, less better. I'm a right hander. Everything's right, but my left just I don't know, a bit of connection. I don't know what it is, but yeah,
just keeping it well rested, just keeping it fresh.
Yeah. So so that's pretty much in a nutshell, really, man. 2 years in the sport. Sort of.
So, you're obviously weight training before, though.
I've done a lot of I think about that for a minute. I'm 36 now.
Right.
Probably early 20s. Done a lot of bodybuilding. I've done a lot of training. Done a lot of MMA in my early days. Mixed martial arts, stuff like that. Yeah. Went to bodybuilding in my mid-20s, mid to late 20s. Done all right in that sort of sector, but just bodybuilding is a whole new level too of just eating, training, living, weighing your food all day. Then then you have a kid, and everything sort of changes. And not that's an excuse or anything, but things sort of shifted in my mind, So I thought, and I've always been pretty competitive, so to speak, in terms of everything I sort of do. So met Brett. I've known Brett for a little while now, but show us the ropes, So show me the ropes, and bang, the hook was in. So
Wow. And do you remember them? Because here's the thing with a lot of bodybuilders and strength athletes that turn their hand to arm wrestling. There's always an overestimation as to how you're going to do. Like I was convinced I was going to be a world champion within 6 months of picking up the sport. And I remember throwing out a challenge on Facebook, like I'll take on anybody, $50 to whoever will beat me. This is during COVID,
yeah.
and then I went around to Taryn Broad's place for a bit of training. Like during COVID, you could only have like 3 people in a room at the one time or whatever. And we go to Taryn Broad's driveway, and I get smashed by these kids that are like half my size. And Taryn was like, "Ooh, here's a big guy." Like I was a bit bigger then, and he was like, "Ooh, okay, this could be good. Could be a challenge." No challenge, no nothing. I was useless to them, and quickly learned that arm wrestling maybe it was going to be a longer journey for me to get. And I don't think I'm ever going to get there now. I've resigned.
Oh, never say never, mate. Never say never. Never say never.
With every day that goes by, the dream is slipping away.
Look, the best thing about
you're built and you come from that strength and combat sports background, and you're thinking like, well, some of this has got to translate. And did much of it translate early?
I got humbled pretty quick. Just a lot of guys my weight, even lower, give me a pretty good crack. I thought I was pretty strong. I've come from my grandfather's a farmer, my old man's a farmer. Always been on the hands and work and stuff. I've always had that sort of, trading more arm strength sort of thing. But then you go into the world of arm wrestling, it just really wakes you up. You know what I mean? And it's not. No, not like normal. Like I thought arm wrestling was just this, Like, then it's almost the whole body, It's like, oh shit, what are you doing? It's just not arm wrestling. And then you sort of learn things just start, and just the pain. Oh, the pain you go through the first 6 months. I remember Brett said to me, he goes, "Nick, you can last six to 8 months, you'll do all right." So, a lot of pain, but as I have to explain to you, it's like a toothache in your arm, just that tendon strength. Like it's not muscle soreness, it's that tendon soreness. So you got to go through that, man. It's a lot of, one day a week you're arm wrestling, you finally come good, then you rip it apart again. You're like, I'm going to work like this. I can't be arms. And then you just get
better when you've got a physical job as well. Like I could barely move the pen when I got to the office. Like I was like two-handing the pen. But when you've actually got to go and you've got to use tools and you've got to climb up ladders and you've got to do stuff, like it's life or death stuff when you're arm wrestling.
Oh, it is. I'll tell you what, it's a hard sport, like it's especially on yarns, obviously, being arm wrestling, but it's not for the faint-hearted, especially when you get to that level too. Like there's some strong guys out there, man. Like actually, I haven't explained to you, but and you just go, and size really, look, size matters to a degree, but some people, the way they use their arms and their levers, man, like it's incredible. That's what really got me into the sport. Really, was like, wow. Like it's like jiu-jitsu for your arms, like what I mean. It's crazy. It's like all angles. It's all about angles, man. So
it really is like jiu-jitsu, isn't it? Because it's not always the biggest muscle wins, and it's kind of part of the lure of the sport, especially for the smaller guys. They can kind of see that there's it's all about the specificity and the technique But when you've got the combination of it as you're developing, where you do have that size, and now you're developing the technique and the tendon and bone conditioning that it requires, you're starting to get into that rare air of athlete that's got that very, very that potent combination of all of those elements that are starting to really coalesce and come together. And isn't it interesting in arm wrestling where you're saying you're 36 years old? That's right. And how in most sports that's kind of the end of your career, but now this is just the beginning. Like it's the dawn of what might be another 20 or 30 years in the sport, even performing at the highest levels. So it's really great for athletes that have already got a background that are now looking to apply some of what they've learned in other combat sports and strength sports and put that into something. And I mean, how exciting is it for you knowing that you could be competing at the top level? Your kids are little now, but maybe when they start in the sport in 15, 20 years time, you could be there and with them competing.
I'll be speechless. I can't wait. Yeah. Well, hopefully it goes that way. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully I can be the inspiration at least. So yeah. But Oh, it's a, look, that's a really good thing about this sport too. Like, you look at like your John Bazinks, your Todd Hutchins, like all it, mate. They're, you know what I mean? They're well-aged men, and they're still going hard, man. They're holding their own, Like, look, I probably won't go too far about it. They'll probably give me a slap next time I see them. But they're not at their peak. You're not at their peak, and they're still, like.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, man. Like the sport, it's probably the only sport really, like or combat sport, that you can sort of, it's like wine. You can actually get better of age. That's pretty, it's pretty good.
and what you might lose in a bit of strength, you're picking
You
up
did,
in table
but they
IQ.
sort of, so it's pretty cool.
It's a long journey still ahead. You came very, very highly recommended from Brett Coots, as I mentioned at the top. Now, you are one of his training partners, and he did say he made the mistake of maybe giving you just a little bit too much room to work, and you surprised him a little bit there, and it was at that moment that he realised, hang on a second, maybe Nicky is something special, and he actually, it just by coincidence, mentioned that story just a day or so before we had the news that Guy wasn't able to make it to Australia, and so as soon as we got that news, it's like, Nick Vella. It's time. This is fate. This is arm wrestling. The arm wrestling gods are speaking to us right now.
Yes. Well, look, it's not very often you get it over Brett Coots, I tell you now. Like, it's not very often. And I think the arm gods were there for me that day because I think he was being a little bit too nice. Is it look, Brett Coots, I can't speak it highly enough. When it comes to arm wrestling, he'll give you a bit. He's a really good training partner. You know what I mean? He won't rip you apart. Like, rip you apart when it's time to go, but. Yep. Day one, excellent, But you know what I mean? Obviously, you get better and better as you go. You'll give a little bit, and then, wow, So obviously gave him a bit of a shock factor there. So I'm just hoping I can fulfill the boots, fulfill the boots, and hopefully perform really well for you guys, and just for the straight arm wrestling too. Like, it'd be really, it's gonna be interesting, very interesting, man. I'm nervous and excited, very nervous and very excited at the same time.
Well, I'm nervous and excited for you and for the event. I mean, we've got some great guys coming over. We just had young Ju make his way over. So Juji is a number one guy in Singapore. He's hovering around that 85 kilo mark. We orientated him around Adelaide today. He hasn't slept for about 30 hours. He was telling us he had a big long flight over from Singapore and is parachuted into Adelaide now and resting up in the rooms as we speak. And so we've got the best from Singapore coming over. Of course, we've got some of the best from around the country as well. And before we go away, I'm going to get some of your predictions over our left arm super heavyweight title match between your good friend and mentor Brett Coots and Rika Borman as well. So now you've now had an opportunity to have a look at the draw, and I guess for a lot of the athletes, they've had the benefit of competing against each other over recent times and had the chance to grip up with some of these competitors. And even Ju was mentioning that he had the chance to grip up with SK and Josh Barker in a bit of a practice pool when he was down for the Over the Top event. But then we also have the likes of Jacob Tuxworth, who coincidentally has not gripped up with Ruben Jennings before. So there's a few little unknowns for each athlete as they step their way through the draw. Have you had a chance to have a look at the draw yet and see what might be your pathway to victory?
Look, Barker is going to be no joke. It's his speed. His speed. Like, in my opinion, in terms of how I'm looking at it, his speed. Look, Tuxworth's no joke either, man. Like, he's good too. I'm grouped up with Tux. I've played around with Tuxworth because me and Tuxworth we went to East vs West together in Turkey, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we were the crew that went together. So he's no joke. I haven't grouped up with Ruben. He's very long, man. So look, if he gets what he wants, he's gonna be a force. He's gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
And stylistically, do you struggle with Taryn? Yeah.
I'm good with Taryn, but nice deep hook with him. It's going to be good. If I can get what I want, hopefully I can give you guys a good show. But I'm really looking forward to meeting him and having a pull with him. Yeah.
Taran is like an 85 kilo Brett Coots. So you might.
That's for me. That's like where I want to go. In my eyes, more of a threat for me is probably Barker. Just the speed, that dangerous press.
Yeah.
Just the speed and that top game, top roll sort of thing. I'm more of a deep hooker, obviously. I'm an inside puller. So, if I don't get my hand where I want to get it, it's going to be hard, but it's all good.
Yeah, it seems pretty consistent feedback. Josh is so quick off the line, and in this tournament style of format, it seems to really benefit his style of pulling, and especially when he comes inside so quickly, it really does make it difficult to combat that. And you've got the likes of Taran that if it lasts for any more than that half second or so, once he is set in his hook, he is very, very difficult to get away from his body. And of course you got Ruben with that just giant lever and that huge
very
hand.
long. Yeah, that's
long.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous.
It's really rare you come across a guy who's 85 kilos and 6'4".
It's crazy. He's a big man. He's tall, man. So he's tall, flat arms. He's gonna.
And of course, and Jacob has been just chipping away consistently over such a period of time now. Like he's just been a sleeper in the sport. He's unassuming. He's not walking around with 20-inch biceps or anything like that.
He's a really nice guy too. He's an absolute gentleman. He's a very, very nice guy, Jacob. And you know what?
Cool.
And you know what? He works hard. I know he works hard. So it's gonna. Look. It all comes down to the draw. Like the draw. Like I know roughly how it's gonna look for me. How I want it to go, but you just don't know. Like it's being a tournament too. Like if you have a few wars, 20%, you lose 10, 20, depending how big the war is and what you're going as. You lose a bit, you lose a bit, you lose a bit.
Yep.
It's just being a tournament, it can go either way. It can go either way.
And that's kind of one of the exciting things about these events is that, and one of the reasons that we've gravitated towards this 8-man double elimination style of event, although some of the athletes have commented, look, I just don't get the opportunity to strategically adjust in such a format where it's all over in a pin, essentially. The reality is that this style of tournament does not affect anybody's ability to rise in the super match rankings, which, I mean, it's fair to say super matches are kind of the where the premier level of the sport is at now. This is where the big promotions, when you're on the big stages, you're standing across the table from a man, and it's best of 4, best of 5, whatever it might be, depending on the promotion. But this style and format really just exposes athletes without diminishing their chances of maybe stepping onto a bigger stage.
It's actually pretty cool. It's very cool. It's actually very cool.
And we found over recent times more gets learned in the after pool, of course, about where people are sitting.
That's where I show them the greatest of the after pool, actually. So hopefully I can. Yeah, hopefully I can.
After pool champion.
Yeah,
We'll have to order a new trophy for that one. So, Nick, I'm going to step through the comments. Normally at this stage of the program, Hollywood Matt Connelly would refer to the good people in the chat just to say good day to them. So we're going to say good day to a few of those lucky ones, podcast females and arm wrestling, shining a light on all things female and arm wrestling. Good evening. And normally I think it's night or morning whenever she's tuning in. So we thank you for coming in. And, good evening to you. It is just for your own reference, about 8 o'clock at night now here in South Australia, about 8:30 in Victoria, where Nick is right now. And the man that's seated number 1 in the event, Dankius Arm Wrestling, Taran Broad. He is there and in the chat and paying very close attention to everything you've got to say at this stage, knowing stylistically you are the man that is most similar to him and might cause him the greatest trouble on the day. But you guys get stuck in a war, it's going to help everybody else in the event, one would think. Huxley, David Hux, is a mainstay in the SA arm wrestling world. He is from the Riverland, so somewhere in between us, actually. Huxley is there. Howdy, jumping in the comments. We've got a request for a double bicep pose from Josh Barker, and look at that. Nick's Not going to disappoint you there, Josh. You will notice great symmetry as well, Josh, which is becoming increasingly difficult to find. So the Siren Franch McGee. Now, Franch will be singing the national anthem at the AWE Grand Prix 3 event for us. So, and she has to ask, as a point of national pride, as she is part Maltese herself, she wondered if you're Maltese or Italian.
Vella, Maltese. You can't get that mixed up.
She suspected you were, so I think you've just maybe she's now going to be practicing renditions of the Maltese national anthem. So we'll soon find out. We've got Throttle Villain. There, Kill 'em, Nico. Obviously a Nick Vella fan right there. We've got Hey Francis. Sometimes it just descends into a little conversation amongst those people that are in the chat. Swear Nick was 75 kilograms not that long ago. This is from Josh Barker. So are we seeing a bigger version of you, Nick? Yeah.
This is the biggest I've been on an arm wrestling table.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, it's the big. So I cut a lot of weight, 75 to go to Turkey. 80s, I'm pretty comfortable at 80s, but being this 85, it's been pretty easy for me. I should be able to walk in pretty easy, not worry about a weight cut or anything. So this is going to be good because I'm very comfortable at this weight. This is more sort of where my body wants to sit to naturally. So it's going to be my strongest form of myself on the arm wrestling table. So.
Yeah, it is one of the reasons we wanted to put a middleweight belt up, because it seems to me like the really strong 80, 85 kilo pullers almost have to force feed themselves to be competitive with the guys that are naturally on the table at a similar strength level, but might be 15, 20 kilos heavier. So
for me, it's the other way. For me, I've always tried to lose weight for 75, especially 75s. 80, not too bad, but always try to watch what I'm eating, try to keep lower. So I always sort of deprive myself a little bit, being in the 75s. And being an inside puller, I'm a bit more slower too. So being a bit more heavier, stronger, it works a bit more in my favour going up the class. But
yeah. I think Taryn was sharing. Sharing a similar tale the other evening when he was sharing that, for him to get to 95 kilos, it's, olive oil, peanut butter in with the protein shake and 14 litres of milk a day, feeling sick and bloated. And of course, then that affects things like your immune system, you just how you're feeling comfortable walking around, your cardio, all of that type of thing. And for him to gain all of that was just for an extra, 5 or 10 kilos. So he might be, somewhat competitive with these super heavyweights, but for him, he's basically able to walk around at pretty close to the competition weight and feels very comfortable, feels strong, feels fit. He's even running at the moment, which is something he wasn't able to do when he was trying to gain. So it seems to be a nice, comfortable weight class here. 5 a.m. there in the US right now. So a good early start for you. And the Siren, hey, Lucky, just having a bit of a chin wag in the chat. And good to hear. Bring some pasticci with you. So a little request there from France. So thank you very much, everybody in the comments who joins in. We'll come back to you in just a few moments' time. And if anybody does have some bold predictions they want to chuck into the chat about how this is all going to roll out, who their favourite might be and why, maybe they've got a top 3 list that they might want to drop in. I know there's some thoughts that are going to come in from Josh Barker around that very, very quickly as well. So we'll return to that before we go away. Maybe if you want to drop in your predictions for the left-hand heavyweight matchup between the two big men, the rising star from South Africa, Rickert Borman, and the legend in Brett Coots. So I guess we'll turn to your thoughts on that particular subject now, Nick. You're obviously training. You're very, very close to Brett. You're training with him. You see him on an almost daily basis. You know how hard he's been preparing and working for this. He was telling us that he's measuring close to 21 inches on the left arm, which sounds phenomenal. He was also force feeding himself to get into his biggest and baddest shape for this particular event, and is now kind of pull back a little bit, getting to that weight where it's becoming a hindrance to him. So he's finding that around the 110-ish level is around the level where he feels that best balance between feeling super strong, agile, fit, good within himself. So what are your thoughts on that matchup? And do you have any insider information here that might help anybody who's betting on the event?
All I'm going to say, Rickard, watch out, mate. That left. I'm telling you, mate. Look, even his right's good too. But his left, I'm telling you, and he's looking good. Like you said, he's in a really good headspace. Look, I love you, Rickard, but it's going to be a war, son. Like it might not even be a war the way I'm feeling, but
Wow.
You go either way, but yeah, Brett's left's feeling it phenomenal at the moment. Phenomenal. Look, it always feels phenomenal to me anyway. But he's ready. He's ready. He ain't messing around.
Wow.
Well, he doesn't mess around anyway. But yeah.
Yeah. When we started the AWE and we were setting up our first event, Brett's name was the first that came up, and he wasn't quite active, he wasn't quite there at that time, and you could just sense that he didn't want to bring anything less than the best version of himself coming out of COVID. Like he didn't want to disappoint the world, he didn't want to disappoint himself. He really just wanted to put his best self on display, and then it took a year or so, and then he returned to the table, and it was so anticipated. And we were so excited to see him. It was like this, by that stage in our mind, he was this enigma. We don't get the opportunity to train with him or be close to him, so you don't quite know where the level's at, but you see the photos, and he looks like if he's not on an arm wrestling table, that guy should be in Flex magazine or something. He looks like a Mr. Olympia. It's truly, and he outside of IFBB, world-class heavyweight bodybuilders, I have not physically laid eyes on somebody so physically imposing and impressive as Brett Coots. And to consider that he's only a couple of years away from being 50, it just is mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. He is absolutely superhuman, and from my mind, really deserves this chance at the biggest stages in the world. At this stage, I would love to see a 49, 50-year-old Brett Coots consistently finding himself on left arm in Istanbul, in Georgia, and in the US, just ripping it up and being right there. And it's kind of cool to see that this is a great opportunity for Brett in this second half of his career to really show the world what he's got, and I kind of feel he sees this as that opportunity, this breakthrough against a big name who's creating big waves around the world. If he can show the world what he can do against a name like Rickard Baumann, then the phone will start ringing, and it won't be long until you start seeing him mixing it up with the absolute best in the world, and that's really what I'm hoping for out of all of this for him.
Oh, he deserves it, mate. He deserves it.
He certainly does.
What he's put into the sport and Aussie arm wrestling too, like he's the OG, man. He's one of the OGs, so he deserves it, man. If anyone deserves it, it's him. So He's been training hard, man. So hard work. I'll tell you what, it's going to be good. It's going to be a really good weekend, guys. Across the board.
I absolutely cannot wait. Josh Parker says he wishes he could make it entertaining, but he's going to go inside and try and get it all done and out the way very, very quickly. It seems like Josh is on the back foot already. There will not be any showboating. He is there to take care of business. He is not going to take any risk. Taryn or Josh to win, and Rickard to win on the left hand. This is from Chris from Intrinsic Media, who's all of a sudden become a huge arm wrestling fan. He's been following the sport and watching all the videos and getting across it. So he's also had the opportunity to review some of the videos because he is part of our production team. He's the leader of our production team there on the weekend. So he's been looking over all of the old footage, and that's his prediction. I think Brett or Rickard will win the belt. Brett or Rickard, well, that's a safe bet. It will be one of them will win the belt. I just love how lefty matches are sometimes unpredictable. Definitely one of them will walk away with the belt. There's no doubt about that. And it's great to see some people are starting to develop some favourites and really get behind both athletes. So we got the rising star in Rickard Baumann coming to us via Queensland, but he hails from South Africa, and he will be well, a force to be reckoned with, as he is each and every time he steps next to a table. And then he's up against the biggest, baddest version of Brett Coots the world has ever seen, which is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. So absolutely cannot wait for that. I can't wait for the AWE middleweight title to be contested. The belts arrive today. So I'll send a little link out to all the boys in a little while. So we can't wait to be seeing that over somebody's shoulder or around their waist, depending on how they like to wear it, of course. If you're the champion, you get to do whatever you like. And of course, the young man on screen right now could well be that man walking away with the title if Brett Coots' opinions have got anything to go by. He reckons that Nick Vella can go all the way this Sunday on the 23rd of March here in Adelaide. And if you do want to attend that event, then it is just a matter of buy registration. It's a bit of a speakeasy situation. You cannot buy tickets online. This is the event that money cannot buy you into. What you got to do is reach out to Hollywood Matt Connelly through his multiple social handles. Reach out to him via Facebook, Instagram, any way you like. Let Hollywood Matt Connelly know who you are, what your name is, and who you will be accompanying. There are limited spots left now. The room is filling very, very quickly. There is only 100 spots, and I believe as of this morning, over 70 of those have now been taken. So it is getting close to standing room only. And so if you do want to be there in person, be part of the after pool, of course. That's all part of the event, and there will be the SA Titans event also going on, which is a tournament. So you can register for the 75 and under, 95 and under in the open category, and certainly walk away a winner on the day. So you can register now. Just simply reach out to Hollywood Matt Connelly. That's the best way to do that. So. Well, Nick Vella, wishing you all the very best of luck, mate, on Sunday. You look primed, you look ready, and I absolutely cannot wait for Brett Coots' predictions to be fulfilled. So we can't wait to see you over here, mate. Thank you very much for joining us.
An honour. Thank you. I can't wait to see you all. See these on the weekend and get it done.
Fantastic, mate. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Thank you to everybody in the comments. I'll just drop back and just finally, I think Brett's left at 105 is elite and world class. That's from Taryn Broad, our number one seed. Looks like he's getting behind Brett on the day as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in the comments. Thank you, Nick Vella, our guest for this evening. And we will look forward to bringing you more arm wrestling tomorrow night. Thanks, guys.